All right, we're live. If you guys can hear me, let me know. Wolfgar the Barbarian says, I have a buddy with an FFL that stands outside of the buyback places and offers to give a better price than the pigs. That is a really good idea. Where is that, Wolfgar? Where does your buddy do that? That's something that live. If you guys can hear me,
shoot.
let me know.
Hold on a second, guys. I probably got a gazillion
Wolfgar the
tabs.
Barbarian says, I have a buddy with an FFL that stands outside of the buyback places and offers to give a better price than the pigs. That is a really good idea. Where is that, Wolfgar? Where does your buddy do that? Hold on, guys. That's something that live. If you guys can hear me,
shoot.
let me know.
Hold on a second, guys. I probably
It's
got
going to get bad.
Wolfgar
The Barbarian says, I have a buddy with an FFL that stands outside of the buyback places and offers to give a better price than the pigs. That is a really good idea. Where is that, Wolfgar? Hold on, guys. Where does your buddy do that? Hold on, guys. That's something that live. If you guys can hear me,
shoot.
let me know.
Hold on a second, guys. I probably
It's
got
going to get bad.
Wolfgar
The Barbarian says, I have a buddy with an FFL that stands outside of the buyback places and offers to give a better price than the pigs.
I got to find
that is a really
guys.
good idea. Where is that, Wolfgar? Hold on, guys. Where does your buddy do that? Hold on, guys. That's something that live. If you guys can hear me,
shoot.
let me know.
Hold on a second, guys. I probably
It's
got
going to get bad.
Wolfgar
The Barbarian says, I have a buddy with an FFL that stands outside of the buyback places and offers to give a better price than the pigs.
I got to find
that is a really good idea. Where is that, Wolfgar? Hold on, guys. Where does your buddy do that? Hold on, guys. That's something that live. If you guys can hear me,
shoot.
let me know.
Hold on a second, guys. I probably
It's
got
going to get bad.
Wolfgar
The Barbarian says, I have a buddy with an FFL that stands outside of the buyback. Oh, guys, I'm sorry about that. Holy cow. I got like 70 tabs open, 80 tabs maybe. And wow, I hate to even start this video right now because people who are going to watch this after it gets done rendering, let's see, what point are we at? I'll have to tell them to skip ahead. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see, 2 minutes. Maybe skip ahead to the 2-minute mark. That sucks. That drives people away like crazy. Sorry about that, guys. I got to remember to close these freaking tabs. Wolfguard, I want to answer, but it's going crazy. LOL. Yeah, go ahead. Where's that Wolfgar? Where does your buddy buy back the firearms at a better price? See, let's say I've seen him like buy it back for like a long rifle for $100-$150 for an AR-15 or something. Can you imagine getting an AR-15 for $200-$250 if it's a nice AR? It's like, hey, they were going to give you $150. I'll give you $200 for it. You're going to make an extra $50. We'll do it right here on the spot. But yeah, you would have to have an FFL dealer with you to do that. Well, not, I don't think in certain places in Oklahoma. Hey, thanks, Archon. What's up, Ann, Dustin, Francisco? Hey, you know what? Before I went, upstate New York. I wonder if, has he videotaped that? Has he videoed himself intercepting the buybacks from the police? Man, can you imagine? That would be just great. Before I went live, I saw this right here. Joe Biden just tweeted out 33 minutes ago. 33. That's Illuminati confirmed, right? I can't believe there's one person, let alone 2,731 people that like this. He says, one way we can make things better for our families. I don't want government to make anything better. You know why? Because when they say they're going to make it better, it ends up being worse. And then when they invest resources in making that thing better, that just means they're going to steal more money that they're going to misappropriate that's not going to go toward that thing that's supposed to make things better. So they're going to steal more money from the people to make things worse as they're saying they're going to make things better. That's why the 9 most dangerous words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Yeah, they're going to mandatory myocarditis. They're going to heavily tax 3D printers. I'm sure they will. He does that on almost every stream. I can remember it on 3 streams, including this one that I've done it on. But yeah, it's irritating. Sorry, guys. Is it better now? Hopefully it's back. Douglas Howard says, I had a friend who gave back $100 for $500 guns. Gave back. Yeah, buy back. You didn't sell them to me in the first place. So Biden says one way we can make things better for families is by helping them. I'm from the government. I'm here to help. Save on items like their utility bill. They're not going to help you save. They're going to create more situations where you got to spend more money. Their internet bill, their prescription drugs, or their cost of housing. Congress should help ease. Guys, it is terrifying to listen to anybody in government say, I'm going to help you, because the exact opposite happens. It's like, wow, with help like that, just go ahead and keep it. Don't ever come to my door. Congress should help ease costs for families right away by taking action. You've already taken action, and that's why we have supply line disruptions. You've already taken action. That's why food prices are going high. That's why energy prices are soaring. That's why gas at the pump, it costs $2,000 for truckers to fill up their gas tanks. Let me play this creepy thing, and then I'm going to play this Cassidy Campbell thing. And then there were people outside of this drag queen pride thing in Dallas that are exposing this, because all these parents right here are subjecting their kids to this nonsense. Listen to Biden right here.
Remember, I'm your commander-in-chief. So don't.
Pale Rider says, is he capable of not being a creep? I don't think it's possible. So let me show you this, and then we'll get into the CNN video after we see the guys outside of this drag queen thing that all these kids are at, exposing it for the perverted cesspot. The cesspool it really is. Watch this. These are guys, man. These are guys. Look at these. What kind of parent do you have to be? Look at these little kids. Little kid. Look, there's a kid. There's a kid. There's a kid. That's a young girl. There's a little baby. There's a kid.
Okay, can you guys do me a favor really quickly?
There's kids all over that place.
If you have Snapchat, anybody have Snapchat?
This reminds me of that little kid. D is amazing. You know, Dez is amazing. Being in that gay bar, doing that striptease where there are gay men throwing dollar bills up on the stage. What the frick?
So
yeah, exactly. It is that is the word that comes to my mind. Disgusting, putrid.
with a thunderous round of applause and all of your love and all of your energy, please give it up for my sister, beautifully trans, the one, the only, the gorgeous, Miss Gabriella Lopez, everybody.
Yeah, I'm just skipping around in this. So okay, so you got the lay of the land here, and then Adam Green tweeted this out. More of this. Expose these lunatic groomer parents and all who enable them. Hey, government, do you really, really care about the children? Do you really want to enact the Protect the Kids law legislation? Look at this. Look, you know, their government's not going to do it, but these people right here will. I don't even know who these people are.
I only have one question. Why do you want to put an axe wound in between your son's legs?
That's the point.
Y'all need to go.
Let us in and get the ticket.
You're not making America great.
the parents who are bringing their kids into this right here are like, let us in. We don't want to be subjected to sanity and reason and logic and morality. We want to expose our kids to psychopaths. Look at this.
Yes, we are. What do you mean? You're making America worse. You're bringing your children
You need to go.
to this event.
You need to go now.
You are literally. Someone better call CPS on y'all.
Please do. We'll pray for you. You must repent.
Bless you, man. Please. I'm in a cult.
I think that's a guy right there. I think that's a guy.
I'm in a cult. Says the man dressed in a dress.
You're in a cult, says the man dressed in a dress.
Wonder if the mama bear instinct is going to come out in 3 years when the mainstream Democrat Party platform is they want to rape your kids.
Oh, great. So we got the left versus right paradigm lie going on here. Nevertheless, they're still exposing this stuff.
And they're all going to think it's one big, smug little joke, these people, by the way. Understand that there is a bigger difference between 10 years ago and now than there would be between now and in 5 years when they're openly advocating for pedophilia like they've already started doing. You people are the symptom of a dying society, and you know it.
You're scaring children. Shut the
We're
fuck
scaring
up.
children.
These people right here are saying that the guy with the megaphone who's actually speaking sense and speaking truth and trying to interject just a little bit of layer and color of morality is saying that they're scared. So this right here, that's not scaring children. I got to turn this off because it's probably copyrighted music. Look. This dude steps in front of this girl right here. This is going to be imprinted on their little minds for the rest of their lives. This is This is literally psychopathic mind control on little children. And this is applauded by government functionaries who want to keep their seats and they don't want to rock the boat and they want to be politically correct.
Shut the
But
fuck
not you.
up!
And you know it.
You're scaring children! Shut the
We're
fuck
scaring
up!
children.
Shut the
But
fuck
not
up!
you.
Look at these little kids doing this right here. Shut the F up, you're scaring children. Look at this. Kids only consider, hey, I might not be the gender that I was born with because somebody put that into their minds. It doesn't naturally go into your minds. It's injected into your mind through constant propaganda. This truly should infuriate everybody.
Shut the fuck up!
You are child abusers.
Shame, shame, shame on you. You guys are damaging the psyche of children.
You're not a real woman.
Shame on you! 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 Shame on you!
Your children should be home. Your kids aren't actually gay. You've just groomed them. You're a groomer.
Wow. I wonder if there's more to that. That wasn't what I was going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about this right here, but this is kind of an interesting picture. I won't read that. You can read that for yourself. Yeah, the state will have the guns. The state wants to have the guns and doesn't want you to have the guns. So what I wanted to talk about today was this guy right here. They say his name is Benjamin Beer or Ben Beers. I don't know how real this is, guys. I don't know how legitimate this is. I don't know if this is a real story. I don't know if this is a fabricated story by the Communist News Network. But what I do know is they're saying that this dad goes viral for giving up his guns. And he didn't just give up his guns. He called the local police, turned over his guns, and requested that his guns be destroyed because society is collapsing and there's so much evil out there. And I'm going to take away some of that evil by getting rid of and destroying my guns. Let's listen to this. I so want to get your reaction on this.
America's surgeons, who see firsthand the damage that gun violence causes, are demanding urgent action.
A high-capacity magazine-fed semi-automatic rifle such as the AR-15 causes extremely destructive tissue wounds. These wounds are horribly lethal at close range.
Get that? They're not run-of-the-mill lethal. Lethal is dead. You can't get more dead than dead. Okay. They're horribly lethal. And guys, you know the way they're trying to paint this? Let's see. Do I have that? I saw something on CNN or NBC, MSLSD. I can't remember which one it was last night, but they're actually suggesting that we show the pictures of the mangled bodies of the kids in Uvalde so that they can foment more outrage from Americans to get those people who are outraged to get the rest of Americans to get rid of their AR-15s and their AK-47s because it does irreparable. We have to do DNA analysis to try to figure out who these kids are so that we have to do saliva tests for the parents so that we can identify them. Guys, don't get me wrong. If it happened the way they said it happened, horrible, it's ridiculous, but they're off the charts acting like every single victim in every school shooting that was hit by an AR-15 was automatically decapitated or disfigured in some way to the point where they need DNA testing to identify the body. And so he's going horribly lethal. They're going out of their way to make it sound as horrible as possible, and it's truly obvious.
And sadly, most victims do not survive long enough to make it to a trauma center. We know we can do it, and we must act.
We must act. We must do something, anything, if we can just save one life. This is our lane. We must enact common sense gun regulations. You care about the children, don't you? It's all that wrapped into one. It's almost like, why don't you just take all of your little phrases and why don't you just string them all together and show us exactly how ridiculous all this stuff. Horribly lethal, incredibly destructive, absolutely disfiguring. One of those things hit your body and all your limbs explode all over the place. It's like there's nothing left but a red vapor trail.
Many, many gun owners have had enough. Our next guest went viral this week after he posted this video on TikTok.
Look what he says.
Today I'm turning in my weapons to the Hillsborough Police Department.
You can't see because the chyron's in the way, but it says, today I chose to have my guns destroyed. This is who they say is Ben Beers.
My weapons to the Hillsborough Police Department in Oregon, both my AR-15 and my 9mm handgun. I no longer want them.
With us now is father and former U.S. Marine Ben Beers. Ben, great.
Father and former U.S. Marine. God, man. I don't know if this is real. I don't know. We know that fake stream media constantly lies to us. You always have to question, okay, what element of truth is actually involved in this mountain of lies?
To see you. So just tell us
Look,
about...
it's almost like she's smirking. It's like, you dumbass. Why the hell did you do that? That's ridiculous. As Allison Camerado sits there in the Turner Broadcasting Station there at CNN, surrounded by men's with probably AK-47s and AR-15s and M4s, maybe even fully automatic rifles. She's surrounded by guns. She's feeling real comfortable. She can sit in her seat right there behind that desk, staring into the teleprompter and trying to convince you need to get rid of your guns, as I myself, in the safety of my own little corporate media studio, am surrounded by guns for my safety, of course, but we don't want you to have guns for your safety. Man, sorry guys, I keep stopping this, but this is just ridiculous.
Why did you want to turn in your handgun and your AR-15?
Quite frankly, I'm sick of it. These devastations has happened for decades now, and it's no longer a recreational hobby. Every time I look at this AR-15, every time I look at this weapon, I'm reminded and haunted by the faces of evil, the innocent victims, and quite frankly, by the tool, the most primary effective tool used to commit these mass shootings.
Okay, so that didn't answer the question. Camerado said, why did you turn in your guns? Because I'm sick of seeing all the carnage. I'm sick of seeing all the evil. Okay, are you a bad guy? Are you evil? Well, no, I'm not. Just answer the question. Yes or no. Are you evil? No, I'm not evil. Okay, so are you good? Yes, I'm good. Are you a good father? Yes. Do you protect your children? Yes, I protect my children. Okay, if you're a good person, you're not evil, and you're a good father, how does a good father turning in his guns make society more safe? And to CNN's credit, I don't know if this is real or fake. This is all a setup, and we got some pretending going on here. A little bit of, I can't say the CA word, the cry. I can't say that because, that sets off the algorithms. But let's say this is a stage show. Give them bread and circuses and they shall never revolt, Voltaire said. But let's say real or false, okay? To CNN's credit, she asked two profound, awesome questions that I personally, and probably you, would ask that he will not answer. Listen to this.
And Ben, how did it feel when you went to your local police station and handed over your weapons?
I wouldn't have asked that question. Because I would have added some colorful terminology to it, and you guys would have added more colorful terminology. Did it feel like I don't know, an element of dumbassery in there when you turned them in, and didn't just ask the Hillsborough Police Department to take them away or resell them somewhere or use them for good, but destroy them, get rid of them. We don't need them.
Felt like I was on the right path to doing something right.
Right.
I acted very quickly. When I woke up, it was obviously a rough night. It's been a rough week. I can't imagine what people are going through. I was in the parking lot for 20, 30 minutes while they dispatched an officer out to me, and I can tell it was not a common practice for them to see.
Can you just see it? I'm waiting in the parking lot. 30 minutes. Man, I'm waiting in the parking lot. Can't wait for Hillsborough Police to come so I can... Oh my God, I can't even believe I can't even look at them. It's horrible. Oh my gosh, I hope you didn't take your kids. You know how dangerous that would have been? To have kids and an AR-15 and a 9mm handgun in the same car with your kids? Oh my God, that's horribly dangerous. John Williams says, thanks for your work, Brian. An armed society is a polite society. I've experienced that. If we the people are unarmed, then the government can and will do whatever they want. Historically speaking, John Williams, you are absolutely right. Let's go on with the story here. Story. Don't you love Ben?
Use a weapon and destroy it.
Wait a second. I missed that. Sorry.
It was not a common practice for them to seize a weapon and destroy it. So it felt very, I guess, awkward, to say the least. There was not much engagement with the police officer, just a property receipt. And I was asked if I was wanting them to hold the weapons for a temporary period of time or have them destroyed. And I think having them destroyed was the best decision, because I could sell them like I have in the past. But I believe that's the one of the main root of the problems is the money driving this in.
Look at Allison's eyes. You know what she's thinking? I am so freaking thankful that I am surrounded by firearms that are keeping me safe. What the hell was this guy thinking?
Industry.
You know, as we mentioned, you're a former Marine. You are a responsible gun owner. How does you giving up your weapons make the country safer?
Boom! How does you, a good guy, a former Marine, a good dad, how does you giving up your weapons make the country safer? What a freaking good question, Allison. Good job. Will Ben answer the question? Stay tuned.
I don't look at my weapons and think I'm patriotic for owning a firearm, let alone an AR-15.
Nobody asked you that.
I think what's more patriotic is solving problems with this country that we've seen time and time again.
And his solving problems is don't just give your guns to the local authorities, but tell the local authorities to destroy them. And they're like, okay, Ben, no problem. We'll destroy these perfectly good weapons. Hey, Billy needs a Christmas gift this year. I got a free Christmas. He didn't even ask me to give him $100. He just turned over the weapons, and all the cops go to the water cooler the next day and say, what's this guy's name? Does he have any more guns? Oh my gosh, you got to intercept those? That's awesome. Destroy them? We ain't gonna destroy a perfectly good 9mm handgun and an AR-15. No way. So she asked him, how does a person like you giving away your guns make the country more safe? He's sitting there talking about patriotism. But when he attempted to answer the last question, did you notice what he said? It was the right thing to do. If you're doing the right thing, that's opposite of the wrong thing. So CNN is trying to impress upon the lemmings who watch this nonsense that you are not doing right if you keep your AR-15 and your 9mm weapon handgun. And you're doing the right thing if you have them destroyed. Destroy guns? Right. Keeping guns? Wrong. Now he's going on to patriotism, and that's not the question. How does you giving up your guns make your community safer? How does it make your world safer? How does it eradicate evil?
Patriotic would be joining the military or serving in your community, helping with people with mental health issues. It's for me, it's not patriotic to own a firearm. And these mass shootings are happening in our schools with our children, all over our country.
Back to the original question, Ben. How does you giving up your firearm make your community safer? You didn't answer the question. And of course, Allison Camerado is not going to press the issue because it's too painful for lemmings who want to be programmed by the CNNs of this world to answer that question. It doesn't make your world safer. As a matter of fact, this next question gets to the bottom of the issue. Listen to this.
You have 2 little kids. Do you worry that without your guns, you won't be able to protect them?
Boom! Again! Okay, so let me get this straight. You live in a neighborhood, in a house that can be subjected at any time to criminal activity from any passing criminal. You have 2 kids. Do you worry that getting rid of your personal protection, emphasis on protection, devices are going to jeopardize the safety of your family? What a freaking good question. Good question number 1 from CNN. How is getting rid of your firearms going to make your community better, make it safer, make it less evil? And number 2, now that you don't have these firearms in your house, attention all criminals, there's a guy in our neighborhood named Ben Beer, attention all criminals. It's a simple Google search away, Ben. It's a simple, all you have to do, if that is indeed your real name, It's so simple to Google and do 10, 15 minutes of research, if that, and find out where people live. And the criminals are like, you have got to be kidding. You mean the propaganda is that effective? I'm in the wrong business. I need to go into marketing. So the question is, how did you getting rid of your guns make your family safer? Aren't you worried about that? It's going to make your family less safe. Look at her smirk. It's like, even Allison Camerado, who's trying to convince you to get rid of your guns, is like, you can see it in her face. It's like, who the frick does that? And Allison's going, I live in New York and I'm not going to get rid of my guns. You think I'm crazy?
No.
Oh, by the way, Steve D dropped a Cash App and says, did you see what the Oddside put out yesterday? Oddside is Lackluster's backup channel. I have not seen that yet, but thanks for alerting me to that. I'll check it out. Thanks for that $15 Cash App.
Don't.
I mean, how did you make
wait, we gotta hear the question again. What does he say?
Schools with our children all over our country.
You have 2 little kids. Do you worry that without your guns, you won't be able to protect them?
No, I don't.
I mean, how did you make that mental shift?
What kind of question is that? What the secondary question? Strike that from the record. Can you, Judge? Just strike it from the record. Don't you worry that you're going to make your kids, your family less safe by getting rid of the gun? Nope, I'm not. Why? Why? Because you are. You do realize that you are less safe, right? You are less safe. If indeed you don't have any guns left in your house, what are you going to do when the next assailant breaks down your door and starts firing? How are you going to keep your kids safe? What defensive and offensive tactics are you going to take? What's your plan now, Ben? It should make you mad. Freedom's March says this clown, a so-called veteran, is trying to convey to people that giving up your tool is going to help children. He has ensured that his children are that much more vulnerable. Thanks for that super chat, Freedom's March. Yeah, exactly. How could you have done anything but make your kids vulnerable? And now you've gone viral on TikTok or wherever you went viral. Now you've shown your face on nationwide TV. Thank goodness for this guy. There's only 84,000 views on this. And look at the dislike to like ratio. You've got 2,825 lame brain likes to 1,460 dislikes. I want to see, we might look at what happened. Why is there no comments? It doesn't say comments are disabled. So I don't know why it's like that. We'll try to look at some comments under here. The ones that I was scrolling through on my phone last night when I first saw this, they were nothing but positive. Bravo. This is so brave. It's so brave. It's so brave of you. And there's another thing that they're doing. They're calling people who don't want to give up their guns pawns of the NRA and cowardly, because you don't submit to the current narrative that if you don't give up your guns, well, you don't like children then.
Because I'm seeing I'm seeing shootings by an AR-15.
The question is, how did you make that shift? How did you make that shift in your mind? Were we instrumental in that, Ben? We here at CNN, were we instrumental in clicking that thing off in your mind, that little reasoning capability? Were we instrumental in having you bury yourself in cognitive dissonance and ascribe to Stockholm syndrome? Where you feel this affinity to your captors? Can you imagine calling your captor? Yeah, send the Gestapo over. I got some guns that I just want to voluntarily turn in. I know you don't know I have them, but now you do because I made the call. So bring up bring up your brown shirts, your jack boots, and I'm going to just give my guns over to you. Please destroy them. They are very dangerous, and they're what's wrong with this country. Bye. I'll be waiting.
In the masses by vulnerable children in our schools.
Let me say this, okay? Because I don't want anybody to misconstrue this. I don't want YouTube executives who might watch this video and go, "You're harassing." I want this guy to be safe. I want Ben to be safe. I want Ben's children to be safe. I want it to, when it comes to the day where somebody breaks down this door, if this is his front door or whatever, I don't know, it looks like a front screen door or something like that with a window on it. If armed assailants come through Ben's house, I want him to be able to defend himself and his children. What makes me so mad about this is this undertone of projection onto the rest of them where you've done wrong if you don't do what Ben does, and this guy should be championed as a hero. If you're not free to give away your guns and have them destroyed, you're not free. You're free to do that, Ben. A lot of people think that, well, that might be a mistake.
Crime reports that show many break-ins with families being slaughtered for no apparent reason. Home invasions or break-ins are usually for theft, and when the homeowner's gone, I don't think someone's out to try to take my life.
Mm-hmm. Well, somebody is out trying to take our life. I don't know if this is true, Strong Forever. I don't know if that's true. It could be. I mean, we've seen that before. It's a possibility. This whole thing doesn't sit well with me, but I'm just going to take it as it is, okay? I don't want to be railroaded into some virtue signaling box where they're going to try to make me feel like I'm doing wrong because I desire to protect my family. I desire to protect my community. I mean, if you haven't read the story about Stephen Williford and what happened in Southern Springs, Texas, you should take a look at it. 26 people reportedly were killed during Sutherland Springs in a church while they were attending church. Their lives were abruptly ended. Stephen Williford, who lived right down the street, heard the shots, told his daughter to load extra magazines. I'm heading out to see what I can do. Had his scary black battle-ready weapons of war AR-15 and took down the threat like that. No cops necessary. No, guys, did you see how many people showed up in Uvalde? And then a week later in Tulsa, did you see the parking lot full of emergency vehicles? Did they have nothing better to do? Did they really think that there was that many people that needed to respond? If you were criminal minded, you'd be like, why don't we set up a faux shooting and get all the cops on the other side of the town so we can rob the bank on this side of the town? I am talking about, it looked like every police cruiser in the state of Oklahoma was in the parking lot of St. Thomas, or whatever hospital, St. Francis Hospital. It was a ridiculous amount of cars. If somebody's got the link to that image, I would like to pull it up because it was I don't know, talk about, I don't know what they were doing, shock and awe. And then as the sun was going down and you could see the people reporting on the scene, all the lights just flashing off. It's just insane, off the hook insanity. Talk about a knee-jerk reaction, man. Just crazy.
You were saying that you don't think that the police see this very often, what you did, where you went in and surrendered your guns and didn't want anything in return. And in fact, the Hillsdale police spokesman said they've never seen this before. Right. So what kind of feedback? I mean, we talked about the TikTok video that went viral. What kind of feedback are you getting?
I'm getting, at first it was a lot of positive feedback, and it's good. At one point, I have to take a step back and stop replying to people because, of course, I'm getting negative feedback, a lot of harassment, a lot of people saying I'm a coward.
Look, I'm not gonna call this guy names. I think it is an unwise decision to get rid of your personal protection devices, especially if you're not a single guy. If you're not a single guy, if you're a single guy and you don't care what happens to your life, and really you don't have anybody in your life to depend on you, your life still matters. You should probably try to protect your life so that you can live your life helping others. But if you have, it's a whole nother, I don't know. I was almost going to say barrel of monkeys, but you can't say that. It's a completely different animal when you're talking about a guy who has a family who's depending on you as the man of the house to keep that house safe, to keep those kids and that spouse secure. I don't care who you are. If somebody depends on you, one of the best things you could do for that person is make sure you take care of your health. Make sure you strengthen your body. So if you ever have to go hand-to-hand combat to try to defend your wife or your kids or whatever, and you don't happen to have a personal protection device available, you can set yourself up for success. And above all, one of the big things that you can do to empower yourself is get a personal protection device. This totally goes against, it seems like, sane and rational thinking where you don't want to go through life weak, right? Ask yourself this question. Do you want weak, frail, brittle bones? Or do you want strong, healthy, empowered bones? Do you want weak ligaments or strong ligaments? Do you want strong muscles or weak muscles? Well, if you want strong muscles, you're going to have to put a little bit of effort in, but man, it is well worth it, especially if you've taken care of yourself from 15 when you become alert to, hey, maybe I should eat right. Maybe I should exercise. Maybe I should do resistance training. Maybe I should exercise my heart. Maybe I shouldn't take drugs. Maybe I shouldn't smoke. Maybe I shouldn't put GMO McDonald's food inside my body. When you're 15, 16, 17, 18, 20 years old and you carry that through, when you turn 50, when you turn 60, when you turn 65, 70, 75 years old, and you look back at a pattern of, hey, I took care of my body. A lot of my other friends who are 30, 35 years old, they're walking around like they can't even touch their toes. They get out of bed, they're racked with pain because of the way they lived. I'm excluding people who got into a situation where they had nothing to do with it. They got sideswiped in a car accident and geeked their neck out or their backs out. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who live their lives in comfort and ease. Well, I'll eat whatever I want to, whenever I want to. I'll smoke. I'll drink. I'll get addicted to alcohol. I'll take drugs, and my teeth will start falling out. I'm talking about those people who could have done something about it, but did the exact opposite of what they should have done. If you take care of yourself and strengthen yourself, you're not just doing it for you. You're not living this life just for you. If you are, that's a pretty empty life. Hopefully, you're eating for strength and not for just to satisfy some earthly desire. Hopefully you're eating and you're choosing, hey, maybe I should get 30 grams of protein in this meal, half the carbs, half the fat, and maybe take some vitamins so that I can make sure that my neurons are firing the way they should, and maybe I should lift, and maybe I should do some wind sprints and get strengthened so that if I ever get into a situation where I'll give you an example. I was living in Lancaster, California, and I just happened to be passing the window when I saw a guy. We were living in a mobile home park, and we had just put this concrete driveway in. So the truck, or was it a car? Was it my van or my truck? I can't remember which. I think it was the van. Anyway, I was in this habit of leaving my wallet in the center console with my doors unlocked. And I was walking by the window. I saw this guy, and I was like, what the frick? And I ran out the door, and the guy had my wallet in his hand, and he started running. Well, I was kind of laughing in my mind because I was in some pretty good shape back then. And how old was I? Was I approaching 40? I think I was approaching 40, 39 or 40 years old. Anyway, this was a young kid. He's probably 26, 27 years old. He was running. He ran for a mile. I'm not kidding. He ran for a mile, and he was a fast runner, but he didn't have a lot of gas in the tank. So I was kind of doing the Rocky jog, And in my mind, I was thinking about Pepe Le Pew and that cat. Pepe Le Pew's always constantly trying to get that cat, and Pepe Le Pew's going like this, and the cat's like, and Pepe Le Pew's just trouncing like. I caught up to this guy in the parking lot. I grabbed him and tackled him. His face hit the front of his face, hit the concrete. I got on his back, took my wallet out of his hand, put it in my pocket, put him in a double chicken wing. It was really, putting the pain on him. And somebody ran out thinking that I was the bad guy. It was like a hair salon. It was a Papa John's or a Little Caesars Pizza or whatever. It was to my left, and people were thinking that I was the aggressor. So I was looking like the bad guy, which I was like, no, you guys got this all wrong. And I got up, and he ran away. I let him run. The police showed up, and I was like, well, I think he ran that way, but whatever. You're not going to do anything. But this is an example of, if you're in shape, even if you're older, the youngest guys, they cannot. It's like that guy I was interviewing on the street corner. His name's Barrett. He was that rough looking guy with the thin blue line flag. He had a lot of good things to say, but then he had a lot of bad things to say too. But he was saying that Antifa, knocked him to the ground or whatever. And he said, I can run 10 miles in, what did he say? I can run 10 miles in 30 minutes. And somebody said under the video, isn't that also called walking? But my point is, you want to be strong for those times when evil visits you, not if, because it's just a matter of when. It's just a matter of when are they going to break into your house? When are they going to break into your car? When are they going to jeopardize your family? There's a video on YouTube that I think it's been there for like 12 years now. There's this guy jogging through the park with his wife or girlfriend, and he's jogging and she's right here. Well, with her being right here, they pass these two guys who were they acted like they had their hands in their pockets and, they're not meaning anybody any harm. As soon as him and his girlfriend passed by, the guy reached out his hand and clobbered her right in the jaw. And I don't know if she went down, but you could tell she was physically hurt. Well, the guy apparently was jiu-jitsu/karate, and he beat these two guys to smithereens. I'm talking about that kind of thing right there. When you eat for strength. Make sure you are eating the protein first and then go to the carbohydrates. Don't eat till you're full. Drink plenty of water. Take your vitamins and stuff like that. You're going to need it one day. You're going to need that strength. And if you don't, somebody that you love will. And that's why you want to look for every opportunity on every level to every degree to try to strengthen yourself, to try to better yourself, strengthen your mind, strengthen your soul, strengthen your body for you and for people who depend on you. What good are you as a dad if you're just a weakling and when somebody breaks in, you can offer no barrier for defense? You can't offer up any resistance at all. That's what pisses me off about this. I'm not downing this guy's character. He is who he is. But I highly disagree with what he's done here. Because I project that onto myself going, if I did that, I would leave. I'm basically throwing my entire family under the bus while I'm saying, look how good I did for my community. It just pisses you off.
Conscientious objector, not a true Marine, not a man. And I can't.
I'm not saying that.
I won't argue with those people. It's not even logical. But the majority of the
I'm not saying he's not a man. He's not a true Marine. He's not patriotic. I'm just saying he made a huge that is a big error in judgment there. If this is true,
feedback I've gotten has been nothing but positive from people all over the world, not just America.
Well, Ben, ignore the haters. I mean, ignore the negative.
Ignore them. We do. Common sense has no place on the set of CNN, let me tell you. We're bootlickers just like you, and believe me, you're keeping good company with CNN. Just ignore them.
Comments. That's what you have to do in this era of social media. And we thank you. We thank you for being brave enough to share your story here. And obviously, we thank you for your service. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Thank you.
America's search.
All right. The second thing that I wanted to show you was this. The name of this is called Quit Filibustering It. Republicans' town hall heats up over gun laws. Listen to this. It couldn't be more blatant, guys. Listen to Donald Lemon from the Communist Counterfeit News Network, the Clinton News Network, tell you that they don't mind the government coming in, confiscating your weapons, and throwing your ass into a rape cage. Listen to this.
I want to play this because I think it's
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this through without talking. Then we're going to go back over it because they put the text under the screen right here.
To get you guys to react to it. This is Republican Senator Chuck Grassley. He held a town hall in his home state of Iowa. That was yesterday.
I'm going to try to shut up.
This video is from Iowa's starting line. It shows how he responded to a question on banning AR-15 style weapons. Watch.
Over 400 million guns in the United States, 15 million of them are AR-15s. So you're going to still have AR-15s even if you stop selling them right now.
No, you ban them.
The answer is not to do nothing.
You get rid of them.
Right. There are things that we can do.
You take somebody with you, you confiscate them, and you fine them or you put them in jail.
Yep.
Well, the answer to your question is a process answer. Whatever we do through the Cornyn Murphy cooperative effort to make schools safe and to do what you can with guns, that probably would not get 60 votes. And I'll say,
quit filibustering it then.
There you go. And look,
little Donald Lemon's beady little eyes. There you go. That's it. That's the answer. If it's illegal and you disobey it, then you throw them into a rape cage. There you go. That's the answer to the whole thing. Criminalize these people who've literally done nothing wrong with the very weapon that this madman walked into a school and shot a whole bunch of kids with. That's the answer. And then people are like, you can't do nothing. Well, if you're talking about government, yes, you actually want them to do nothing because the less that they do, the less harm that they can commit on the world. Watch. Let's go through this. Listen to what this guy says. I wish so bad I was in the room. Wait. Do you realize what you're saying? You're saying that you want the government to turn their guns on innocent people who literally did nothing wrong and threaten them with violence while you say you're against violence. Please tell me how that makes sense. Listen to this.
Iowa, that was yesterday. This video
take this
is
slow.
from Iowa's starting line. It shows how he responded to a question on banning AR-15 style weapons.
Banning, criminalizing people who own them. It's not just banning.
There are 400 million guns in the United States. 15 million of them are AR-15s. So you're going to still have AR-15s even if you stop selling them right now.
No, you ban them.
The
You
answer
take
is
them.
not to do nothing.
You get rid of them.
Right.
No, you ban them, you get rid of them, says this guy right here. Listen.
There are
Take
things
them.
that we
If
can
you take
do.
somebody with you,
Yes.
you confiscate them, and you fine them, or you put them in jail.
Did you see that? Let me read it real slowly. You ban them, you take them away from them. If you catch somebody with it, with the AR-15 in this case, you confiscate it. In other words, you steal another man's property, and you find them. I think this means you fine them. In other words, you economically terrorize them, or you put them into a rape cage. Take away that. This guy is suggesting, and he might be even ex-military, I fought for the rights of this country. This guy's literally saying innocent people should have government guns and government violence and terrorism pointed directly at them. And if we all agree as the mob, because there's this mob mentality, if we all agree that we're a whole lot safer if the government steps in and has all the firepower, and we're going to ban these weapons, if we find you with them, we'll fine you or throw you into a rape cage. We know you didn't do anything wrong, but didn't you? Because you committed a crime when you disobeyed our government, when you didn't follow the rule. These are Republicans, guys. Grassley's a Republican, and this Tom Hall is Republicans. I'm telling you, there's a lot of Republicans calling for universal background checks. There's a lot of Republicans calling for the banning of AR-15s and AK-47s. They're like, we're banning the AK-47 and the AR-15. We're not transgressing the Second Amendment. We support the Second Amendment. If you support the Second Amendment, you're supporting shall not be infringed. And if you lay any layer of infringement on that, you're not supporting the Second Amendment. I'm going to infringe you on your right to keep and bear arms while I'm saying that I'm not infringing on your right to keep and bear arms. It's such psychopathy. It's crazy. I even hate, it's just insane. It's ludicrous. It's outlandish.
Well, the answer to your question is a process answer. Whatever we do through the Cornyn Murphy.
It's Grassley. Whatever we do through the Cornyn Murphy cooperative effort. No, what you should be saying, Grassley, is that violates shall not be infringed. Do you live in America? What'd you do? Were you shipped over from China, man? Psh, 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 psh. What's wrong with you? You're telling me Grassley should come out against that, and not one person. I'm telling you guys, I went through the entire 7 hours and 34 minutes of that stupid House Judiciary Committee bundle of nonsense. It's almost like you're a spectator at a zoo watching all the animals throw their crap everywhere. Even the Republicans, not one of them, not even Thomas Massey, even though he had a lot of good things to say, nobody's saying, do you realize that when you make this law, that law is going to be supported and backed and enforced by government-sanctioned gun violence. So while you're telling the people to get rid of their guns, and the reason you're getting rid of the guns is because of gun violence, you're saying we're going to use gun violence on you if you peaceful, innocent people don't get rid of your guns. Nobody says that on the House floor. You know why? They can't say it because it's part of the left versus right paradigm lie. You can see the poison, the toxicity of the left versus right paradigm lie when you're watching Sheila Jackson Lee and Representative Jordan and Thomas Massey and Gates all talking together, because not one of them is resolute. You don't see the fires of freedom burning in their hearts to the point where they go, let's talk about what's really going on here. Let's wipe away all the euphemisms. Not one person goes, there's no such thing as gun violence. Inanimate objects can't commit acts of violence. People do that. Why are we sitting here talking about doing something to innocent people when a few criminals are ruining it for everybody else?
Cooperative effort to make schools safe and to do what you can with guns. That probably would not get 60 votes. And I'll say
wrong answer. Wrong answer.
Filibustering it then.
Quit filibusterment then.
There you go.
There you-
And look, conservative, one of the most conservative. We reached out to Grassley's office, by the way, for a comment, but we haven't heard back.
They so want you disarmed at CNN. They so want you disempowered. It's so racist. When Joe Biden gets up there and go, we need to raise the age from 18 to 21. Do you realize, Joe Biden, you're saying all 18, 19, and 20-year-old black men and women are going to be disarmed by your administration? I call that racist.
Are clearly angry, John. Do you think this is going to have an impact on senators like Grassley? That's why I said this is a more dangerous thing for Republicans, I do believe, in this moment, come November, than it is for Democrats.
Well, oh, gosh, I better secure my seat. I better secure the vote. I better get out in front of the people and see what they want. I'd be like, guys, I don't care what you want. I'm here for your freedom. And if you tell me that you want to take guns away, I don't support that. Screw you. Keep your money. Matter of fact, if you try to pay me $174,000 a year, I'm just going to give it back. I don't want that money. I don't want the money. I don't want the seat. I don't want the power. I don't want the control. I don't want the rigmarole. You know that none of these people are resolute in what they say. You know how you know? Every 4 years when you get the presidential election, any election, they'll talk bad about the opponent. Now I'm talking about Democrats talking bad about Democrats. Kamala Harris will tell you how bad Joe Biden is and how good she is and how you should vote for him and not vote for her and not vote for him. But then when the dust settles and Joe Biden has more votes, reportedly, Kamala Harris becomes the vice president. And now all of a sudden, all the bad words that she said about Joe Biden just fizzle away in the sunlight of politics. Oh, yeah, you know that thing that I said? No, I didn't mean that. I was just trying to get your vote. I was just trying to get you to think that I thought that he was bad. That's all it was. Tulsi Gabbard talking about how bad Joe Biden is. But then what does Tulsi Gabbard do at the end of the day? Because she wants to stay in the Democrat Party, she's got to play by the rules, and she's going to have to cast her vote for Joe Biden. Utterly crooked. Utterly crooked. The fastest way to an immoral society is for people to keep trusting in government. There's a video that I want to just make it as a standalone video. I wanted to show you because, let's see, there's this CNN video. Let me show you this CNN video. Hilarious. They talk to a gun expert. Oh, are you an expert? Oh, of course I am. If you call yourself an expert, you're automatically not. I'm an expert. Oh, you are? Really? Let's see. Are you an expert? Let me see. Where is this? Where's the NRA one? Got a badge on the thumbnail. Where is that NRA one? Here it is. Yeah, extremist beat. It says America's past gun control laws might surprise you. And then they're talking about, hey, the Wild West wasn't really so wild. Here, we'll watch some of this. He actually plays a little movie clip right here where they disarm this guy. Let's see. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Listen to this.
Shootings have triggered new limits on gun ownership and access in numerous countries, and advocates for gun control point to them as proof that mass shooting incidents can be dramatically reduced.
Hey all, I'm John Avlon, and this is Reality Check on the extremist beat. No country in the world loves guns quite like America. We have more guns than people here in the United States. We have a gun culture rooted in our history, our Constitution, and even reflected through the basic reality of where we live. Because, let's face it, people have very different...
Yeah, that's another thing about Tulsi. You know, a lot of people like her. A lot of level-headed, logical people like her because she's real calm. She almost like speaks to conservative principles and sensibilities and stuff like that. But if you look at TulsiGabbard.com, Doug Too Deep says Tulsi wants your guns. She wants to ban all assault rifles, AK-47s, AK-47s, AR-15s. She wants to ban high-capacity magazines. She wants to institute universal background checks. So for Tulsi, it's infringement, infringement, infringement. We know one thing about people who want to infringe on your Second Amendment rights. They are your enemy. Tulsi Gabbard is your enemy. And the fact that people want to play footsie with her and Bernie Sanders and all these people, like I think about Joe Rogan. Oh, I love Tulsi Gabbard. If I was going to vote, I'd vote for her or Bernie Sanders. It's like, well, Tulsi wants to violate your rights by using government-sanctioned gun violence to point a government gun at you to pry you of your right to keep and bear arms. How does that make you feel? Well, it makes me feel like Tulsi's my enemy.
Relationship with guns in urban and rural communities. But we also need to face the fact that there's a lot of mythology around guns in America. Fundamental distortions and romanticizations around a tool that could be used for self-defense, hunting, recreation, or mass murder. The data shows that guns are far more likely to be used in homicides here in America than other countries like Britain, Australia, or Canada. Mass shootings have been on the rise here, even as overall crime has declined from its highs in the early 1990s.
Okay, we're getting to the punchline here. I don't care what happened in the Wild West. I don't care what the founding fathers thought about guns or not guns. I know one thing, you can't violate my rights and I can't violate your rights, because if you do, you've committed a crime and you should be punished. Anybody who's a criminal, anybody who violates the consent of another should be punished, period.
But 10
Thanks for that super chat, Scary Larry.
of the deadliest mass shootings in American history have taken place in the last 15 years. There doesn't seem to be any real political will to deal with it.
Political will. What is politics? The clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people like you and me into consenting and to demand the chains of our own enslavement.
Now, one reason is an increasing expansion of gun rights, with more and more states allowing people without permits to carry concealed.
That's not an expansion of gun rights. You already have the right because you're a human being. It's an inalienable right. Nobody can give it to you. Nobody can take it back. But that's what the government does. The government wants you to think that they're the good guy. It's kind of like when you get a speeding ticket in my town, and it's probably like this all over the place. You get a speeding ticket and you go before the judge and like, okay, what was it? 7 miles an hour. Okay, it's a $150 ticket. I'll tell you what, going to give you a deal today, tonight only. Instead of $150, it's $75. And the people walk out going, oh my gosh, at least I didn't have to pay $150. It's like, no, they just stole $75 from me for nothing. You didn't put anybody's life in jeopardy. You didn't commit a crime. You didn't steal property. You didn't hurt anybody. And they stole $75 from you, but they want you to think that they're the good guys because they gave you a lesser deal. Or like plea bargaining. It's like, wait, why should I plea bargain? I'm innocent. But they try to railroad you and trying to paint themselves out like they're the good guy. It's like this right here. Ever expanding gun rights. It's like, you can't expand any more on shall not be infringed. It is what it is. It's the whole ball of wax. It's the whole shebang. It's when it gets limited, and then they give you some breadcrumbs back. And then they limit it again, and then give breadcrumbs back. And then limit it again, and breadcrumbs back. And then they limit it all together, and you ain't getting it back again. Reichstag fire decree.
Weapon. This is often defended by hearkening back to America's history, a frontier ethos forged in the old Wild West. But reality is often disconnected from romantic fantasies about the past. As this article from Smithsonian Magazine states, the Old West conjures up all sorts of imagery, but broadly the term is used in Smithsonian Magazine.
Okay, so gun control is as old as the West. Contrary to popular imagination, bearing arms on the frontier was heavily regulated. It was a heavily regulated business. Smithsonian Magazine, February 5th, 2018. It's October 26, 1881, and Tombstone in Arizona is not yet a state. The OK Corral is quiet, and it's had an unremarkable existence for the 2 years it's been standing, although it's about to become famous. Marshal Virgil Earp, Wyatt Earp, having deputized his brother. Okay, so they're talking about, okay, well, there was gun control in the West, so, I know this idea you thought in the Old West, people could just walk around anywhere with guns. Well, there was some regulation. Well, that's wrong. That's criminal activity. If a man is going to regulate the possession of a gun of another man, he's committed criminal activity. Why doesn't this guy who's going to be violated by this guy go, no, I'm not giving up my guns. You give up your guns. Oh, wait a second. Shoes on the other foot now, huh? This is an appeal to the fiction called authority.
States, the Old West conjures up all sorts of imagery. But broadly, the term is used to evoke life among the crusty prospectors, threadbare gold panners, madams of brothels, and six-shooter packing cowboys in small frontier towns such as Tombstone, Deadwood, Dodge City, or Abilene, to name a few. One other thing these cities had in common?
Here we go.
Strict gun control laws. That's right.
Did the Wild West have more gun control than we do today? Gun control advocates fear and gun rights proponents sometimes hope the Second Amendment will transform our cities into modern day versions of Dodge. This is all based on a wildly shared misunderstanding of the Wild West. Well, tell us how there was gun regulations, and I'll tell you how that's an evil land right there. Who has the power to regulate your right to keep and bear arms? Oh, that's right. Nobody. Nobody. You don't have the right to regulate somebody else, and they don't have a right to regulate you. If they think that they do, where did they get that authority, and how come you don't have it? How come everybody doesn't have that authority? Are they special people? Did they descend from Mount Olympus? Are they gods? What's going on?
In many of the classic cowboy towns that are
No, just believe us. Marshall Dillon has the authority over us. Andy and Barney has authority over us. No, they really don't. No, they really don't. They shouldn't be there as authority. They should be there as just like peacekeepers. Hey, let's just keep the peace, guys. I'm not here to tell you what to do or whatever, but we don't want chaos, and we don't want criminal activity. I think I can agree with that.
For hundreds, if not thousands of Westerns, visitors were required to disarm. Take a look at this sign from 1873 outside Dodge City, Kansas, identified by UCLA law professor Adam Winkler in his book Gunfight. The sign says, "The carrying of firearms strictly prohibited."
First of all, I don't believe that. Second of all, even if it was, I'm not giving up my guns because somebody else has a gun. I know I'm a good guy. You know you're a good guy. And the most illogical, immoral thing for anybody to do is have a good guy disarm. Yeah, I'm not doing it. Not doing it. So what if the Old West was, hey, this is a gun-free? So you're saying this is the first gun-free zone? It looks like this thing has been touched up or something. I don't know. Maybe they're highlighting it. The carrying of firearms. I don't even know how you could read that. Looks like that word is stability.
It's not exactly John Wayne stuff, is it? Now, actually, my candidate for the greatest American Western, Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven.
Watch this. He goes
got
to
it
a
right
movie
in
clip.
this scene where Sheriff
Hollywood got it right. Look, let's learn from Hollywood. That's always a good idea.
Little Bill, played by Gene Hackman, forces a gunslinger dubbed the Duke of Death, played by Richard Harris, to disarm.
Watch this.
Take a look.
Well, good afternoon, gentlemen. I'll have that 32, Bob. Enemies, Bob.
And that, my friends, is criminal activity. Did this guy commit a crime? No. Do you have a higher claim over his life than he has? Do you have a higher claim over his life and property than he himself? No. Then where do you get your authority? Well, I was deputized. Deputized by who? Deputized, or I'm a sheriff because all these people elected me. Oh, did they have authority to take my firearms without my consent? No. Well, if each individual doesn't have that authority and they don't have that right, then how can a whole group of people have that right? And if they all, as a group of people, don't have that right, how can they bestow that right onto one person who's now violating my right to keep a firearm so that I can be protected? So what if this guy right here goes back to his hotel or goes into the bar or whatever, and somebody threatens his life? Well, now he can't really protect himself, right? Not with a firearm anyway.
Talking about the Queen again?
Now, of course, all this undercuts the gun culture mythology that gets used.
Gun culture mythology. How about just your right to be left alone? And to not be violated, and not to sanction and approve and honor and exalt and glorify criminal activity. How about that? How about we talk about that, John Avellini? Law enforcement has a higher authority than where did they get that? I think are you kidding, King S? Law enforcement have a higher authority than you, Brian. Really? How is that possible? Are they not human like I am? I'm just a human. I don't have a higher authority over you. Scotty, New York City says the corrupt government are conducting these shooting simulations. I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
To excuse opposition to any gun safety reforms today. So does the fact that the NRA was founded in the 1870s as an organization dedicated to teaching gun safety and marksmanship, and even supported the federal government's ban on machine guns in the 1930s, which still stands.
Yes, they did, and that's why I'm against the NRA. That's why I could stand in good conscience with those people who are yelling across the road at the NRA members, hey, I'm not with the NRA either. They're decidedly anti-Second Amendment. Well, the people shouting at the NRA are against the Second Amendment, right to keep and bear arms, which shall not be infringed. NRA is against the Second Amendment. And a lot of the NRA members that I talked to, every one of them said, yeah, they approve common sense background checks. Well, it makes sense. You don't want evil people to have guns, do you? No, I don't want evil people to have guns. But you know what? I know they're going to get them. And since I know they're going to get them, and I'm a free man, I don't want to be restricted. Don't restrict me because nincompoops are going to get guns. Is King S serious about that? Oh, you are serious that law enforcement has... Prophet says, or Prof Z23 says, no, law enforcement thinks they have a higher authority. Time to show them that they don't. You just have to ask simple questions. Okay, do I have authority to tell you what to do? You would look at me, literally, you would look at me like, who the hell do you think you are, Brian? Hey, by the way, King S, I say by my own decree, and by the way, I have 50 of my friends who signed this fancy piece of paper right here. We've all agreed to get together and come against you and tell you, King X, that you can't have a personal a firearm. And if we catch you with it, me and my 50 friends who've signed this little piece of paper right here, reserve for ourselves the right to penalize you if we catch you with it and throw you into our basement because we've made a little cage in our basement. We're going to hold you there. Where did you get that authority, Brian, and your 50 friends, you might ask? To which we would say, we have it because we were elected. Did the people who elected you have that authority? Did they individually have authority to transfer to somebody else? No. Did they as a group have authority or special rights that none of the rest of us have? No. Then how can a group of people who are made up of individuals who don't have that right confer that right onto other individuals who don't have that right? Oh, it's magic. Just believe us. That's why Larkin Rose wrote a book called The Greatest Superstition. The Most Dangerous Superstition. It's superstition. I don't understand what you're saying, King S. It doesn't make any sense. If it's your property, then yes. I don't know what you're saying. You're saying that the government or law enforcement has more authority than me, and I'm asking you to prove it because you can prove that they don't. If there's something other than human, maybe we have a conversation. But if they're just humans like you and me, you don't have special rights over others. Therefore, they don't have special rights over you. Unless there's a special class of human, or there's human/God, or they're fully God, or there's something... Even if they're extraterrestrial, how do they have more rights than you? Yeah, The Most Dangerous Superstition. I don't know why I can never remember. I've read that book twice, and I can never remember the actual title of the book. The Most Dangerous Superstition is one of the best books you'll probably ever read. I need to reach out to Larkin Rose because my copy is riddled with grammatical errors. I don't know. But if you haven't read The Most Dangerous Superstition or Practical Anarchy, it's really good. Gail R., thank you for that. Wow, thanks for that $30 Cash App. I appreciate that, Gail. The most dangerous superstition equals the belief in authority. Yes, exactly, Supplanter. Hey, if you guys want me to keep going, let me know. I got a couple more things to say. Just put a 1 in the room. 494 people in here. It's an hour and 7 minutes. I don't know. Maybe I should end this. 384 likes. Let's see if we can we in the next 30 seconds minute, can we get 400 likes? 400 likes. It really helps a lot. And if you press that like button, also when this video gets done rendering, hit that share button and share it on all your social media and let people know what we're talking about. The reason I play all these CNN videos is so we can expose the darkness with the light of truth, the light of righteousness, doing what's right, being a decent human being. Decent human beings don't make gun laws, guys. That's why politicians are up there making gun laws, because they're not decent. I mean, I really question sometimes if they're even human beings. But I've got a video that's supposed to be going live in a couple of hours from now on this channel. Just check it out, man. It took me like 6.5 hours to make it because I have this whole string of House Judiciary Committee crap to go through. And I was listening to what everybody had to say. And then I split it up into compartments of there's gun violence. All the buzzwords that they use: assault weapons ban, high capacity magazine ban, red flag laws, can't be 18, 19, or 20, raise the age to 21. Yeah, they work for us. Police are public servants. They work for us, says Jimmy. That's a joke. When tyranny becomes law, when injustice becomes law, resistance or rebellion becomes duty. Thomas Jefferson, says Jeff. You know what we could also do? We could do a dedicated live stream where we just talk. We can just sit here and talk about certain things. I would like it to be directed. I would like it to be linear. I would like it, like if when the video gets done rendering, that somebody can learn from it. I would like to talk about that. I don't want to just sit here and go, just shoot the breeze on something that people aren't really interested in. Social contract equals euphemism for being cucked. I would like to talk about the social contract. There are some people that, they're not really good at debating. I'm personally not good at debating, but I've seen when people are talking about the social contract or law and order or what's that called? Rule of law. People don't let each other speak. If rule of law and law and order and social contract mean the same thing, then I got a couple questions. Who makes the law? Where did I sign the social contract? Because I don't remember signing that contract. I mean, if you're going to talk about the Social Security thing and my parents signing on to it when I was just a little kid and didn't know what was going on, that doesn't count. How can you be a party to a contract that you don't agree with all the terms on? What if there are terms in there that you disagree with and you want to withdraw your consent? There's so many questions to that. I think statism has already proved to most people that it doesn't work. Statism is why we're $171 trillion in debt if you count unfunded liabilities. Statism is why we have a beefed up military industrial complex who can at a moment's notice bring a C-5 Galaxy into your town, into your airport, and unload a whole bunch of standing army troops in your neck of the woods and start issuing curfews. You don't get that with voluntarism. You can have a defensive force on a voluntary scale. Just look at the Revolutionary War. That was voluntary. And it was only a third of the people who actually took up arms, and they did pretty good against the most powerful army at that time, the British military. When people are afraid of the government, that's tyranny, but when the government's afraid of the people, that's liberty. Thomas Jefferson, says Jeff. And if you missed my last video that I put up on my Grease Monkey Videos channel, where I go through what the founding fathers actually thought about being armed and the value of being armed, it's called... let me pause this. It's called The Federal Government Has the Right to Disarm You for Public Safety, right? Of course, being facetious. Wow, that's got a lot of downvotes. Huh. Does not have any rights. The employees have a duty to uphold and defend the Constitution. Yeah, I think maybe people are taking this wrong. That's quite a bit of downvotes right there. Interesting. I'll have to look at some of the comments. I haven't looked at them yet. Oh, and by the way, I meant to go back to this and see if I can refresh. It's 84,754 views. After refresh, okay, it increased 10,000 views. Let's look at some of these comments under here. Irene says, the hardest is to admit you're wrong about something you believe in. Kudos for a real father. They're calling this guy a real father for getting rid of and destroying his firearms. May he have a happy Father's Day. He earned it. Bravo. As a Marine, as a man, as an American, bravo for being courageous enough to part ways with pre-created tradition that remains such a source of mismanaged human rights. I support and applaud a choice that was right for your current consciousness. Again, the guy can do whatever he wants to. He's free to do whatever he wants to do. I personally think it was a huge mistake. It was a fatal mistake, and it always is historically when you disempower yourself and increase the power of the government. This guy says, self-reflection is one of the hardest things to do. He looked beyond his intentions to the real effects of his actions, and I think that's beautiful behavior to model as a parent. A coward wouldn't do what you did. I can see why people would say that, but gosh, consider you don't take this out of context. A coward wouldn't do what you did in the context of disempowering himself and his family and keeping himself from being protected and protecting his family by an encroaching invader who has firearms who didn't do what he did. Actually, it was a brave and innovative move. We as Americans have lost sight of what this country is all about, or was. A great lesson for your kids and others that guns aren't everything and the ability must be much more. Guns aren't everything. Guns aren't everything. We just want the government to have all of them. Guns aren't everything. Guns aren't everything. We just want the standing armies who are issuing curfew orders and locking us in medical concentration camps by the barrel of a gun. We just want you to know that guns become something, at least something, when your enemies have them all and you have none. Guns aren't everything. It's so brave to say, well, guns aren't everything. I say this in the safety and security of my own home. Guns aren't everything. Well, what happens if you're at gunpoint? What happens if your children are at gunpoint? Wouldn't you like that hidden firearm on your waist as the perpetrators in your house think that your hands are tied behind your back and you pull it out and you judiciously and silently aim it at the head of the person who's about to pull the trigger on your wife? Guns aren't everything? Guns aren't everything? Yes, I agree. Guns aren't everything. But there's a context in which they at least become something. It's just, guys, these are the people that breathe our air. These are the people who we're surrounded with in our communities. I don't care if it's a small little community like mine in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. I don't care if it's a big community like living in New York City or Los Angeles or Portland, Oregon. We are surrounded by these kinds of people. And this is why I do these kind of videos, because I want to expose what's actually in the minds of the people that we live with. Guns aren't everything. That's real brave to say when you don't need a gun. Let me ask you this, guys. How many female joggers who were abducted, kidnapped, thrown into the back of a trunk, and taken to some crack shack and raped, how many of those women would still be here if they had a hidden firearm on them? Oh, they may have grabbed you before you could get your gun. Oh, they may have thrown you into the trunk, but they didn't know you had a gun. And then when you get to the crack shack so they can rape you, guess what's pointing in the assailant's face? How many of Ted Bundy's, or what's that other guy's name? They used to molest all those boys and dismember them and put them in weird shapes after they were, what's that guy's? Jeffrey Dahmer. How many of Ted Bundy's and Jeffrey Dahmer's victims would still be alive today if they had a personal protection device? This is what I think about, guys. How many of those mass killings that you see, if those teachers were just armed, if they just had a little bit of training, how different would that outcome have been? This is what makes me mad. This is where the rubber meets the road. Guns aren't everything. Well, there's something when you're in that classroom and you can hear those boots, those military boots walking down the hallway. Man, there was this, oh man, you know what? There was this video. Oh man, what is it? It was called Amuleto. Hang tight, guys. This is going to be worth it. Where is it? Where is it? Shoot, I had the tab open. Did I close it? I got so many tabs open. Crud. It was, hold on tight. Let's see. It was called Amuleto. Yeah, school shooting short film. Is this it? Yes, this is it. This is it. Look at this. Look. Oh, I got to turn this down. I don't want to get a copyright strike on this, but watch this. This depicts being in a gym classroom and the gym teacher. Let me see. Are you guys still with me? I don't even know how many people are in the room right now. Gail, you're awesome. Thanks for that super chat. Can you send a comment via Cash App? You can, but I can't send one back. Like when somebody, Gail Ralston sent me oh, Gail. Yeah. I see your $5. Thanks for the $5 Cash App. You can put a, I think it's a short message and I can only reply with like an emojis. Like I just replied to you with a heart, Gail. And then Gail Ralston Jr., I just replied with a heart. I can only reply. I can't reply with text, but you should be able to write with a text on Cash App. Because I've seen people like Steven says, did you see what the outside put out yesterday? I have not seen it yet, but yeah, you can put one in Cash App. Gail, thanks for that super chat. But guys, you got to watch this. You got to watch this. Let me see. I don't even know how many people are in here. 478. Thanks for the 481 likes. If you haven't liked this video yet, please do so. Watch this. I'm going to play this in spurts, guys, because this has 8.1 million views and they have 3.39 million subscribers. So they probably have clout on YouTube to actually issue a takedown notice if I play too much. But I just want to kind of, it actually does a really good job depicting what it might be like if there was this kind of event that unfolded at a school. Watch this. I'm going to turn this off. And then, so there's these kids lined up and they're just, the teacher's telling them, okay, cool down. This is after like a gym class or something like that.
2.
He's just getting them to cool down. And the reason I keep interrupting, guys, and I know this probably drives you crazy. I understand, but I'm not going to get I don't want to get this is in line with, it's called fair use. It's Article 107, fair use. And you have to basically make the content your own. You can't just continuously run somebody else's content and then take credit for it. So, and I don't want to do that anyway. Gun control equals genocide. Historically speaking, Gail, no argument there. No argument at all. Okay, so watch this.
Breathe. 3, 4, 5.
Okay, so the kids get alarmed. The teacher gets alarmed. There's gunshots that happen outside of the gymnasium. People are on high alert. They don't have, well, no, I'm not going to skip ahead, but watch this. This is a 13-minute video. We are not going to watch all of it. I will put the link here. I'll put the link in the videos like this so make me want these people to be ready with a personal protection device. It's like, what the? That would be very concerning. It's like, wait a second, I got a responsibility here. Guys, be quiet. That could literally be what we don't want it to be. That could literally be what we constantly hear happening on our TVs. Why didn't I get prepared is what he should be thinking.
Everybody run to the boys' locker room. Now!
Good job being loud and letting the potential gunman know where you are. And when you do it, maybe take off your shoes before you do it so you're not sneaking across the gymnasium floor and causing all these squeaks. So he goes to the door. He closes the door. He sees this one kid right here. They find an office. Okay, there's another shot ringing out.
Get in there. Lie on the floor.
Okay, so they find an office. Here, I'll just narrate this. Get on the floor. There's this tarp that just so happens to be laying on the table. He's like, oh crap, somebody took the lock off the door. What the frick? All I've got as a defensive weapon is a door. So he gets them, he tells them to get down on the floor. He covers them up with this tarp because, he's trying to do the best that he can because he doesn't have a personal protection device. Instead of hunkering down and taking a position where when you see the guy at the window, you can take some clear shots. And this is another thing that pisses me off is limiting magazine capacity. Do you think the criminals are going to get something less than a 16-round magazine for their handgun? Do you think they're going to go, oh my gosh, it's supposed to be 5 rounds? I can't have 16. This is why you want them. This is why you want an AR-15 with a 30-round magazine. Because you might miss the first 15, 17 times. If you miss the first 15 times, you got 15 more shots, 15 more tries. To protect your kids. So he covers them up. And then he hides under the desk. So he's under the desk right here. Oh, this makes my blood boil. So now they hear this guy going through the hallway. This little girl starts counting to try to keep things real calm. 4, 5. Oh, this burns me up, guys. What you got here is a gun-free victim creation, criminal empowerment fish. These are fish in a barrel. These are fish in a barrel. Just sitting there waiting. Let's see, was there another shot? This guy's banging against the lockers with the barrel of his rifle. This kid's freaking out. He's like, I'm not going to lay here. I'm not just going to do that. Skip ahead here. So there's the assailant, the armed assailant. So I'm gonna silence this real quick. So you got this guy. He should be taking a position at the back of the room with his kids behind him or behind desks or whatever so that they're protected. And he needs to sit there, be taking aim. If I see the whites of his eyes, if I see that this guy, identify your target, as long as it's not a kid or another member of the faculty and this guy's got a gun, he's got a mask on or whatever, obviously he's up to no good. If I see him with the gun coming anywhere near the classroom, there's only one guy going out of there with the body bag is how you should be thinking about this. This guy's behind the desk. He's not even looking at the window to see what's going on. Okay, so there's the guy with the gun. Look at that. Look at that. All that he has between him and that room that the kids are in is a window. And wouldn't it be nice if the teacher had a personal protection device so he could actually save his kids? I want people empowered. I want teachers like this empowered. If these kinds of things happen, which they probably do, wouldn't it be great to put as much power in this guy and training in his mind, power in his hands? But now what do politicians want to do? Arm the teachers. That's the most ludicrous thing. Obviously, you don't want to arm teachers, said the politicians. Obviously, the teachers are only there to teach the kids. They're not there to protect them. This isn't Wild Wild West or anything. Yeah, tell the teachers that when they get in this position right here. What do you think? If this was a real situation, what do you think that guy's thinking right now? If only I had a ... If only I had taken the time to learn what? If only I had taken created the discipline and the wherewithal to learn go to that firearms training class, take practice shots, put a couple 100 rounds through the barrel of that gun. If only I had. Well, it's too late, because now you're in the position of disempowerment. Now you're in a position where somebody else has more power than you. Now you're in a position where there's 15 kids who are depending on you for their very survival, and you can't do anything but be a victim with them. This is why I'm pissed. This is why I'm passionate about this, and this is why I'm pissed off about this kind of scenario that the politicians are trying to pigeonhole us into. I'm going to turn the sound up. So here's this guy. Ends up this kid knows who this guy is on the outside and ends up being his big brother who's going rogue. That's it. You're gone. I don't care who you are. You're gone. But the teacher can't do it because he's been disempowered, and that's exactly this right here. Being scared under your desk while kids are shaking in their shoes. This is where politicians want you. And that's why I'm against it. Axiom says the coach looks like he could be the shooter. Punk politician, says Jersey Bob. The majority of the masses are too dumbed down. They're unreachable. Gevorg, I cannot pronounce your last name. I'll try it though. Gulasarian. Gevorg Gulasarian. Can you add American distress flag design? Oh, for the shirt? I can try. I'll try to think about it. I'll try to figure out how to do that without getting a copyright on it. Thanks for that Cash App. I appreciate it. The way people speak of those in power, calling their commands laws, referring to disobedience to them as a crime, and so on. Bootlicker, ex-Bootlicker says free Schaefer Cox. Yeah, Schaefer Cox is that guy in Alaska who was arrested by the feds for having done nothing wrong but try to expose. Hey, ex-Bootlicker, wasn't Schaefer Cox, what he was really doing, wasn't he exposing some kind of pedo crap going on in the Alaskan government? Then the feds came out against him. Schaefer Cox is literally in jail and has been for 8 or 9 years, maybe going on 10, of a 26-year sentence in a CMU. It's called a Communications Management Unit in Terre Haute, Indiana. Schaefer Cox is in jail, and he'll be in jail for a quarter of a century if they don't free him. And here's Donald Trump, knowing that this guy, I'm sure Donald Trump probably has heard about Schaefer Cox. I'm sure he got tons of letters on him, but there's no evidence that Schaefer Cox did anything wrong. He just crossed the FBI, and you can't do that. Jeff says, laws that forbid the carrying of arms disarm only those who are neither inclined nor determined to commit crimes. How does anyone watch this and not be in favor of being locked and loaded is beyond me, says Nancy. Well said. Well, that's exactly right. Exactly right. Especially when you get to something like this where, okay, so the shooter who ends up being this little kid's brother, then you see stuff like this right here. So this guy's running up to this teacher who, according to this short film, was shot. But this is horrific, man. This is horrific. That stuff like this happens. Upside down. That in reality is what every government is, an illegitimate gang of thugs, thieves, and murderers masquerading as a rightful ruling body. Yep, I agree with you. Yeah, Greg. Weaver family in North Idaho. I'm gonna do a video where we talk about, because at the end of this, one of these videos, this one right here, they talk about, we're not trying to take away why would anybody want their gun rights taken away? I want to show you what this gun expert says. Where is it? This gun, he asked this gun expert, where is it? Is this it? Let's see. Here's the chick that ran in across the police line. Actually, they arrested her. And I'll read that in a second, Scott. The Uvalde police arrested her, put the handcuffs on her. She happened to know some of the cops. They took the handcuffs off her, and then she ran into the school across the police line where all the police are shaking in their shoes, and she goes in and bravely gets her little kids out of the school safely. And they interview her. Maybe we'll do a standalone video on this. This is number 24 on trending. Let me refresh the video. Let's see what it's at now. Yeah, still 24 on trending with 1.5 million views. Angeli Gomez. Heard there's a man shooting people at her son's school in Uvalde, Texas. Sons? Those look like daughters. She knew she had to go rescue her kids. CBS News correspondent. Anyway, it's an interesting story. Where's that one where... Oh, here it is. Let me show you it. Have you ever heard of anywhere where they're trying... Where do they get this idea that we're going to take away their guns? Where is it? They almost mock it. Where is it?
And somehow that seems to get overlooked.
They're coming for our freedom.
Here we go.
And also said not an unlimited right.
And that I think is a...
Oh, I hate this.
Keep and bear arms for purposes of self-defense.
Watch.
For me, at least, modifies or moderates.
This guy right here is supposed to be a gun enthusiast and gun expert. This guy right here on the right-hand side of your screen. Scott Howerton says, it seems like every time this happens, our kids are sitting ducks. It's pure evil every time this happens. What kind of human kills innocent kids? A coward. I don't even know how to put it. An evil, psychopathic coward. So this guy on the right is supposed to be a gun expert. Listen to what he says.
That first clause of the Second Amendment. I do believe that people have an individual right to keep and bear arms for purposes of self-defense, although, as the Heller decision also said, not an unlimited right.
They keep saying that. They said it in the House Judiciary floor. It's not an unlimited right. It's not. The Second Amendment is not an absolute right. Actually, it is. It is an absolute right. You absolutely have they even called it inalienable. You can't get more. It's who you are. It's in the fabric of your DNA. Because you're a human being, you have an inalienable right to pursue life, liberty, happiness, and property, and self-defense. It's inalienable. Nobody gave it to you. No human being gave it to you, and no human being can legitimately take it from you. Inalienable is absolute.
And that I think...
Look at this. Look at what Scalia said. Gun grabbing, black robe tyrant, Supreme Court Justice of the United States, Antonin Scalia. Like most rights, the Second Amendment right is not unlimited. It is not a right to keep and carry any weapon whatsoever in any manner whatsoever and for whatever purpose. For example, concealed weapons prohibitions have been upheld under the amendment or state analogs. Well, that shall be infringed. That's an infringement, you tyrant. The court's opinion should not be taken to cast doubt on the longstanding prohibitions on the possession of firearms by felons and the mentally ill. I'm sorry. Everybody in government is a felon, and I would contend psychopathic and therefore mentally ill. So if you want to start taking away guns, then start with government. Or laws forbidding the carrying of firearms in sensitive places such as schools and government buildings, but somebody's got a gun in there. Does that mean somebody has special rights over you? Somebody in that federal or state building has a gun, right? But you can't, you trust yourselves with it, but you don't trust us with it? What if we said, well, we trust ourselves with it, but we don't trust you with it? What if we started disarming police officers? Well, we don't trust you. You've already proven yourself that we can't trust you. You've already proven that if you ask us for a concealed carry permit, we're going to put 7 slugs into you, Philando Castile. You've already proven to us that if somebody's selling individual cigarettes on the street corner of New York City, we're going to choke you out, Eric Garner. You've already proven that if you're trying to stay away from humanity and live as a nomad in the hills of Arizona, that we're going to end your life, James Boyd. You've already proven to us, Mesa Police Department, Philip Brailsford, that if somebody's trying their best to follow your orders, we're just going to slaughter them in that hallway of that La Quinta Inn, Daniel Shaver, and on. We could spend all day on this, guys. We could spend all day on this. So don't give me this Scalia that it's not an unlimited right. It is. And I can prove it because you believe it's an unlimited right for you. You even believe that you are responsible enough to handle nuclear weapons. But you're going to tell us that it's limited for us, but it's not limited for the class of human beings who call themselves government. It's evil. It's hypocritical. It's inconsistent. It's contradictory. Sensitive places such as schools and government buildings, or laws imposing conditions and qualifications on the commercial sale of firearms. That's an infringement. Miller's holding that the sorts of weapons protected are those, quote, in common use at the time. Well, your 9mm is not common now, says Joe Biden. Screw you. Screw you. Not playing this game. And I'm not on pins and needles because I could care less what the Republicans or Democrats do. I could care less if they enact gun control regulation. You know what I don't even want to say patriotic. You know what the freedom posture and mindset of the people is? I don't recognize you as an authority. Why would that bother me? Not going to do it. And what if a whole bunch of people did that? What if a whole bunch of people just all of a sudden withdrew their consent because they woke up and they realized, wow, politicians are psychopaths. They are the psychopaths we knew always existed. It's like that meme that I saw one time. Hilarious. It's got a picture of this kid in bed and it's at nighttime and he's looking at it. It's like when I was a kid, they always taught me that the monsters were under my bed. When I grew up, I realized that all the monsters are in Washington, D.C. They're too busy doing evil stuff in the District of Criminals. Miller's holding that the sorts of weapons protected are those in common use at the time find support in the historical tradition of prohibiting the carrying of dangerous and unusual. What weapon is not potentially dangerous, guys? A pocket knife, a Boy Scout knife is potentially dangerous. You know what kind of damage you could do with that thing right there? This is potentially dangerous. There's some potential here. That right there can break that part right there. If you hold it strong enough, you can just go boink and you can break pretty much any window with it. It's a tactical pen. Oh, we're going to outlaw tactical pens. You know what somebody did with that tactical pen last week? So anybody who owns this tactical pen or this model or this style of tactical pen will now be a criminal in the eyes of the state. And now you're a fugitive from justice if you don't turn them in, America. Like Diane Frankenstein said, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in. No thanks, Nazi. No thanks, Diane Frankenstein. Listen to this.
Is a crucial point. In Scalia's decision in Heller, he makes very clear that there are a history of reasonable restrictions that are entirely constitutional. And somehow
There are a history of infringements that are entirely. Listen, do they even hear themselves speak?
Leah's decision in Heller, he makes very clear that there are a history of reasonable restrictions that are entirely constitutional.
Reasonable restrictions that are entirely constitutional, blah, 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 blah. I feel like I'm listening to Charlie Brown's teacher. Walk, 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 walk. Nothing I'm saying can make any kind of sense. Shall not be infringed means shall not be infringed, John Avellini. But listen, it gets worse. It gets worse.
And somehow that seems to get overlooked.
They're coming for our freedom.
Yes, they are.
When we come back, we'll ask Professor Yamani where the idea that they're coming for your guns comes from.
Where does that come? Where does that? Does anybody know where that comes from? I don't know where they get the idea that they're coming for our guns. What do you think, Beta Male O'Rourke? Where did they get the idea that they're coming for our guns? Hell yeah, we're going to take AR-15s and AK-47s. You know, I ought to cue that up. I ought to cue that up right now. Let's go to hell yeah. Hell yeah. Beto. Beta Male O'Rourke. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15s and your AK-40s. Hell yes, he says.
I do want to come to Congress.
Here, let's just cue that up so that when they do spew some nonsense, we'll counter it with some of their own nonsense.
Any basis of that in American history? Or is it really a projection on other countries' open?
Here we go. Here's the question. Here's how ridiculous it is.
When we come back, we'll ask Professor Yamani where the idea that they're coming for your guns comes from.
Where does the idea that they're coming for our guns comes from? Where does that come from?
Of your body because it was designed to do that, so the thing inside of your body because it was designed to do that, so that you would bleed to death on a battlefield and not be able to get up and kill one of our soldiers. When we see that being used against children, and in Odessa, I met the mother of a 15-year-old girl who was shot by an AR-15.
I don't believe you.
And that mother watched her bleed to death over the course of an hour because so many other people were shot by that AR-15 in Odessa and Midland. There weren't enough ambulances to get to them in time. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be time. Hell yes.
Wait. We're just going to pause it right here. Cue the insanity. So let's ask the question again.
Constitutional. And somehow that seems to get overlooked.
They're coming for our freedom.
Here we go. Ask the stupid question again.
When we come back, we'll ask Professor Yamani where the idea that they're coming for your guns comes from.
Where does this idea that they're coming for our guns, where does that come from, Beta?
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Where does it come from? I have no idea. I got no idea. Do you guys have any idea where that comes from? Listen how stupid it gets.
Is there any basis of that in American history? Or is it really a projection on other countries overseas that have done it after mass shootings? That's next.
I can't wait for you guys to see the video I got waiting in the wings coming up next. I was there. We were there. We were there in the March Against Our Lives. We watched that chick speak. We were somewhere in this sea of people right here. That was crazy times, guys. Okay. All right. While I got you here, on June 11th, we're going to attend March for Our Lives, March Against Our Rights again in some city. We're either going to go to Dallas or Fayetteville, Arkansas. I'm hearing there's a lot of liberals in Fayetteville, Arkansas. So that might be where we're going. Although Dallas seems like a good location. Dallas is 4.5 hours away. So if you want to support that, hit us up on Cash App. Let us know. And we're going to go. We're going to make the trip. I think it'll be worth it to expose the nonsense and, set brush fires and seeds of freedom in the minds of men.
We've seen a lot of guns sold in the past few years in America, tens of millions. And it's often predicated upon a manufactured panic that they're coming to take your guns.
Who manufactures the panic? Let's see. Gosh, who could it be manufacturing the panic? Oh, that's right. CNN. CNN manufactures a bunch of panic.
So when was the last time the U.S. government actually confiscated guns en masse?
Well, I actually don't know the answer to that question.
He's a professor. He's a gun owner. He's an expert. Where did they get the idea that we're coming to take your guns? Well, I don't know. I was hoping you could answer that question.
Do you know?
No, that's why I'm asking you, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
because it is such a perpetual fear tone that is used by the NRA and by folks to sort of drum up gun sales and ammunition sales. I'm wondering, is there something I'm missing? Is there some precedent for this?
Well, okay, let me say this about that issue. So in the wake of many mass shootings, especially school shootings, people will point to, in England in 1996, there was a school shooting, and the government acted immediately to enact common sense gun control.
No, don't call it that. Stop saying common sense gun control. There was nothing commonsensical about it. As a matter of fact, it was insane, and it wasn't government control, it was people control, and it was literally what you would term gun violence on those people by taking away their guns from innocent people who didn't commit this atrocity. Call it what it is. Stop using freaking euphemisms. See, the reason they used euphemisms is because they got this big horse pill of a lie, and they got to convince you to swallow that bad boy, so they're going to try to make it look as palatable as possible, so people go, oh, that doesn't look so bad. Oh, common sense gun regulation, of course. Why is this so hard to swallow?
Which basically meant banning all handguns.
And what were the effects of those gun confiscations? Given that obviously it's a totally different constitutional frame.
Did you hear what he said? What were the results of those gun confiscations? What was the result of that broad spectrum government sanctioned gun violence upon the people? Just say that, Avellini.
Well, I think that we definitely don't see the kinds of mass shootings in those countries that we see in the United States. I don't know that they had the history of mass violence that we've had in the United States. So, there could be a net benefit in terms of reducing certain very rare types of shootings in the United States, but at the cost of confiscating the most commonly owned weapons from 75 to 80 million Americans, that may just be something that the American population is not willing to trade off.
Don't give them up. Hang on to them. Don't let anybody deceive you. Stand together. Get with members of your community. Stand strong together. Get that free app that I've got up there. It's a link under all of my videos, guys. Let me just show you. The link under all my videos has an app. It's got a video of an app. Let me just show you.
So you brought up them.
This is on my High Impact Flicks channel. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Grab the 100% free Minuteman app. It's absolutely free. Here's the video. And in this video that I'm going to put in the chat room, it's an app where you can get in touch with your community. It's called the Anti-Tyranny app or the Minuteman app. There it is. Absolutely free. We put this together for you guys. You can have it as an app. Here's there's the send help aspect of it and the Minuteman aspect of it. You won't get it on the App Store, and it's not on the Apple Store. You can get it from the internet and put it as a little icon on your phone. And what it is if you need somebody to help you, this is where you get, you can set the range. You can set the range of within a mile of your house or 5 miles or 10 miles or whatever the parameter you want. And it's up to you to maintain your own safety. This is like open source. People can certainly abuse this and start stalking people or whatever. But you get with your community, find out who you can trust. You have their back. They have your back. You give them, your verbal commitment or whatever. Hey, if you need me, I'm here for you. And then on the Send Help app, if you're stranded, you hit that button right there and it goes to everybody in your community. If you're out auditing and you want people to come and, kind of stand by your side and have an extra camera so that if you get in trouble, they can record it for legal purposes or whatever. Or if you're being pulled over, if you're being arrested, it's got all these little buttons that you just push one button and somebody can immediately, it sends out the message that you need and it need to be sent out, and people can geolocate you and find out where you are on this map. But this video right here, I'm going to drop it in the chat room. Took a while to develop that. Ben did a really good job developing it. His team, he's just like a tech guru, and his team spent a lot of time, working out the kinks on it. Let's get that. No strings attached, guys. Totally free. Totally free. That's one of the things you can do. If it's one thing that we're going to need community. People in your community. I'm not going to do you any good if I'm 1,500 miles away, or for that matter, 150 miles away. You need somebody in your community, people that you know that are storing up food, storing up water, storing up ammo. They have bug out bags and shelters and cellars to, hide things in. When shit hits the fan, when, not if, you're going to want to have a communication source. And this is a good way to do it while we still have, cell phone communications.
When you see elementary school children slaughtered in schools, again, in the case of Uvalde, Texas, in a way that destroys the myth of the good guy with the gun, what do you think we can and should do about it? Or do you think this is the kind of thing that we need to accept as an inevitable byproduct of gun culture in America?
Well, I don't accept that it is an inevitable byproduct of gun culture in America. I think that the majority...
I'm done with these yahoos. I'm done. Done with this. Make sure you get that app. Thanks for the 576 likes. If you haven't hit the like button, hit it right now. It really helps with the algorithms. Share this video with everybody you know. Thank you to everybody who contributed to this live stream. I'll just call out the Cash Apps real quick again. Mall Cop, thank you. You said... can you add American Distress Flag design? Oh, okay. I already read that. So Mall Cop, Gail H., Gail Ralston Jr., Stephen Damastis, and then there was one that I couldn't pronounce. Where'd it go? Huh. I don't see it. So guys, thanks for all the super chats. Thanks for being here. Good guy with the gun stationed at school would be a help. Oh, wait, there's one more thing. Another thing Republicans are calling for is they're basically calling for standing armies at schools. They're actually calling for law enforcement or ex-military or whatever. I can see how that would be a good idea, but I also kind of hesitate, how many of these guys have PTSDs? I'm not saying they all do, or that'd be a bad idea or whatever. I'm just saying maybe we should think about this a little bit more. I mean, militarized schools, I think it's a bad idea to fund the public indoctrination camps. I think it's immoral to get the funding for public indoctrination camps from the tax cattle. I think it's, it's far superior to homeschool your kids. One of the most dangerous places you can put your kids, guys, is public schools. Why do people keep doing it? They're not getting a good education. People are dumb as a box of rocks. You could literally go out in the street corner with a microphone on a busy street corner and ask people what 2 + 2 is. Fleckus Talks had a person on there the other day said, what's 3 + 3 3 times 3 times 3? People are like, I don't know. It's like, just try it. Just try it. Who's the vice president of the United States? What was one of the ridiculous questions? Oh, I saw one on Bill Maher. He was highlighting some guy who's going on the street asking questions. What's the name of the guy who first touched his foot on the sun? When we sent people to the sun, what was his name? Neil. What was his Neil? What was it? It's like somebody. I can't remember what the demographic of people, but the joke went something like, one of the reasons we can place astronauts on the sun is because they lift off at night. They only do it at night. And people are like, yeah, that sounds perfectly feasible, perfectly rational. I've got no problem with that. Hey, if you're going to land on the sun, you better do it at night or you're going to get burned, right? There's this joke I heard. I picked up a hitchhiker the other day. Seemed like a real nice guy. A few miles down the road, he asked me if I was afraid that he might be a serial killer. I laughed and told him the odds of 2 serial killers being in the same car at the exact same time were extremely unlikely. Turn it back on him. I love jokes like that. Minority Report goes, you got to say it right. You got to say it right, Minority Report. AR-15s are weapons of war that belong on the battlefield. John York says stupidity has taken over our country. Anyone with their eyes open can see that government on a regular basis does things that to a lot of people against their will. Notice how poorly government treats. Yep, I sure have. I've sure noticed that. 2 + 2 = the new norm is 5 now. Yeah, like what's that curriculum called for math? It's called Common Core or something like that. Where you go, I mean, it's not direct. It's all over the place. It's really weird. It's convoluted. The politician's orders will be carried out by brute force if necessary, with or without any individual's consent. And that's why we need to somehow get in the minds of the badged law enforcers who are the conformists instead of the moralists they should be. Thanks for the 606 likes. Guys, I appreciate you guys being here. I will see you guys in the next video. Please be looking for the next video that I have ready to upload on the Here's the Deal channel. It should upload in the next couple hours. If it's not, it's being hung up. I put too much time in it, and YouTube's not, putting the green on the, the monetization button or whatever. But if it doesn't go up today, it'll go up tomorrow. But it's a video that you don't want to miss. It's a video you don't want to miss. Because it encapsulates and it distills and it concentrates all the nonsense they're trying to shove down our throats in the name of Protecting the Children Act. So I will see you guys later. Hit the bell notification icon if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the share button. Hit the like button. And I will see you guys in the next video.